I love this little bell. I don't know why. I will take it with me. So these need to be slightly moved. There we go.
What'd you do with everybody?
I know. we sold everybody a Twice Nice. Welcome to those still standing. We'll talk about Twice Nice in just a second, but we are in a new month of June, and Donna has written for us. Whoever will be the moderator has now got... What? Oh, we now have a something to acknowledge the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, our land acknowledgement. So we'll just take a moment. It's only 2 lines, and just be aware of this for the Native Americans who lived here before us. The Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today and every day. Thank you. Okay, let us move forward. We are glad that you're here. Let me get out my stuff so I can read it. I print these out every week, and they always move. They do, little paper feet. Alrighty. Together, and thank you for being here. The crowd after Twice Nice is always the smallest of the year. It's because everybody else is lying in bed going, but we are here and we are glad to be here. So we will all say together the affirmation, which is on the screen, and then turn to somebody and say the affirmation on the bottom to somebody individually. Together we say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. And turn to somebody else, and please say with enthusiasm, I honor the path that brought you here this morning. And if you are just joining us for the first time, welcome to the center. Welcome home. Nice to have you here. Okay. And oh yes, and I look at this like this way they'll see me. Hi, Zoomers. Hi, Zoomers. There we go. Welcome to everybody who is online. We're so grateful to have you. By the way, these services are always put on our YouTube channel, YouTube/Eureka Center for Spiritual Living. I usually get them up about Tuesday or Wednesday. Many times I get it before. So if you would like to see any of our past services, you can go online and you can see them. And thank you for doing that. Our weekly schedule appears on screen for us right now. All sorts of stuff going on, and you will notice nowhere on the list does it say Twice Nice. But with that in mind, we have decided, because we had so much fun, it's going to be thrice nice, and we're continuing today. No, in all seriousness, if you were involved in the Twice Nice sale, if you came here even for just a couple of minutes to help out, you donated in any way, shape, or form, you helped spread the word, please stand so we can acknowledge you. Zoomers, you can stand if you'd like to, but it'll just be the people in your family who are doing it. There we go. So thank you. I want to point out, since you cannot see it at home, for those playing the home game, virtually everybody in the room was standing. So that is absolutely wonderful. Yeah. And more. Because there are people who aren't here today who I know are helping. And I also had a couple notes about that. The silent auction, Rebecca's working on the silent auction to get us a total on that. But I spoke with Walk and Awe, And we have a ballpark total from Twice Nice, not counting about $400 that Rebecca says will come from the silent auction, and Waukena says we have about another 100 yet to come in. We are sitting, probably we'll be pushing about $7,000 for the Twice Nice. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that particular song, but I'll take it. And to that end, there is still merchandise in the other room. So if you on your way out would like to grab something else and make a donation, you are more than welcome to, and we would appreciate it. It is this money that helps support the center so we can do what we do. So until next year, that's the Twice Nice. We have got, speaking of coming up this week, we have got we've got yoga with Kathy, wherever Kathy is sitting. I know it's back there. Did you say you wanted to say something, or no, that was not you, was it?
I wanted to make sure that we are doing it tomorrow. Is that true?
Yeah, so okay, and the question was, for those people who can hear it, are we doing the class tomorrow? And the answer is yes. Okay. One of the nice things about Twice Nice, and the classes for that matter, is you really get to know the people who you share every Sunday with. And I was prompted by getting to know Kathy better and getting to know some of the other people better. It's just a delight if you can go to a class, if you can help us out in any way, aside from the fact that we appreciate it, you just feel immensely close. I think a lot of us would share that. To the people in this room, this is outside of the people and the family and the animals that live in my house. This is my family, and a lot of it is because I get involved here. So just wanted to put that personal note out. Okay, we have got a sacred healing circle with Karen, and Karen did want to say something, so come on up, Karen.
So I've been doing this monthly because it is one of the practices that I have seen make the most change in my life. And we will be holding this one again online, but we're looking at where the best place is, because I know some of you have asked if we could do it in person, that maybe your online environment is not conducive to a calm, peaceful meditation experience. With that said, we were also told the social hall might not be the best location because we have renters here and there can be some commotion and walking in and out. So I'm looking for an alternative location for that. If you have a home that you think would be a great location for that and you're willing to open that up to our community, I've also thought of doing it in a park location, so looking at something once it warms up a bit, maybe in July or August. But let me know, and otherwise I hope to see most of you online tomorrow. If you need a packet for that, you will need a blank one. Please contact me. You can email me. My email should be in the newsletter, and I don't know if it's on here, but it's kjbaz7@gmail.com, and I can send you that paperwork.
And Karen, for people who might be willing to donate the use of their home,
Yeah.
how big of a home do you need?
We usually have a pretty small group, so it's probably, let's say 5 or 6 of us.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, Swore at a Solomar. There we go. I was looking at it. If I'm not in a play in August, I'm really considering going, although, truth be told, I'd rather be in the play, nothing against a Solomar. But this is the annual convention, and I can't speak to it short of what you've heard Angelica say the last couple of times, and I don't doubt has been to it several times. Does anybody want to say anything, or should we just move on with it? We'll move on, a Selmar. Okay. The bookstore. We have prosperity. There's something kind of ironic about that. Prosperity books, $1 off. I'll just let that land where it landed, and you can take it the way you want. Okay. And next month we'll be praying for good books about religion. Speaking of helping our community, the little pantry needs to be fed. If you've got non-perishable goods, please bring them to the little pantry. When you go to the grocery store, grab a couple of more cans, a couple of more packages, put them in your cart, drop them off here. really fortunate. Last night I was running the theater, and a gentleman without a home came in. And while I was in the back, and I came out, and my first reaction was, oh my goodness, did he take anything? And, because the money was all sitting out there. And he did not, which thank you, God, for realigning my priorities. But it was a very nice feeling, because he thought he was stealing coffee, because he was very embarrassed. He was making some coffee. And when I came out and saw him, and I said, what can I do for you? He goes, well, I don't have anything to eat. And all we have are Skittles and, candy bars and things, and popcorn. But I was able to give him coffee and popcorn, and somebody had left a sandwich. One of our volunteers had left a sandwich. She said she might be eating it, and she didn't. So we gave him a sandwich, and then he said where he was sleeping was out in front of Surfside Burger. So at the end of the night, I took all the leftovers and brought him out there. It was just an eye-opening experience, because we are fortunate, and we forget that right next to us in this community, possibly sitting in this building right now, are people who are food insecure. So the little pantry is an important contribution. So didn't think I would get so emotional about it, but it means a lot. Yes, Lori?
We also need people to put food in it.
To put food in it? Well, yeah.
Because we get
You mean to actually stock it as opposed to...
We
Okay.
get a lot of food here, which
Okay.
is really low right now. But then people need to come periodically and put it in the little library.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's empty.
Okay. Walk-and-Awe does it on Mondays from noon to 4. But, yeah. And Angelica does it during the week. But bottom line is, let's help. There are people who aren't as fortunate as us, and if we have a little bit of extra, let's please share it. Yes, Hannah?
Right now, the stash is in the women's restroom.
The stash. Are we down to stems and seeds?
Moving right along.
Well, you can tell what generation most of us were raised in. Okay, let's move forward. This month's theme is embracing self-care. I got to tell you, I'm the one who does these. I don't mean to brag about it, but this is my art. This is their art. Other people sing. This is what I get to do, so it's my gift. And this one was quite a bear to figure out something that did it, but I wanted it to be something. So many of embracing self-care, if you look at the images, they're people who are holding their heart, or there's a stethoscope. So to try and make it look different. So I just hope this brings out a sense of joy, of just being aware of the fact that you're alive, and appreciate that. Now, we're going to do something different starting this week, and Angelica is going to do that. So I'm supposed to bring this out here for her. And I know I put it here, but again, it's migrating. There we go. So that is for you, Angelica, and she's going to lead us in a chant.
We've been talking about bringing more music back in. We haven't really done any community singing much except for the ending song in quite a long time. And so I thought this is the perfect place to put something in between the advertisements and the actual sacred part of our service. So this chant is called Breathe Into the Heart of Me. And I'm just going to sing the first stanza for you so you could hear what it's like. And then you'll see the words up there. There's 3 little stanzas. So put the words up there. Not that one. That one, yeah. Great. Breathe into the heart of me, ah. Breathe into the heart of me, ah. Spirit inside me, I call on you to guide me. Breathe into the heart of me, ah. See, some of you remember it. Fantastic. Okay, let's all take a deep breath. Breathe into the heart of me, ah. Breathe into the heart of me, ah. Spirit inside me, I call on you to guide me. Breathe into the heart of me. Ah. Breathe into the strength of me. Ah. Breathe into the strength of me. Ah. Spirit inside me, I call on you to guide me. Breathe into the strength of me. Ah. Breathe into the faith of me. Ah. Breathe into the faith of me. Ah. Spirit inside me, I call on you to guide me. Breathe into the faith of me. Ah. Take a breath, and let's welcome Karen up here to do our contemplative.
All right. Well, I know I have shared some of my love for Oriah Mountain Dreamer, who is the author of The Invitation, with you before, and this is called The Call, and I thought it fit very nicely with our talk today. Let me find the right page here. I have heard it all my life, a voice calling a name I recognize as my own. Sometimes it comes as a soft bellowed whisper. Sometimes it holds an edge of urgency. But always it says, "Wake up, my love. You are walking asleep. There is no safety in that. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. And let this knowing take you home to the beloved with every breath. Hold tenderly who you are, and let a deeper knowing color the shape of your humanness. There is nowhere to go. What you are looking for is right here. Open the clenched fist in wanting and see what you are already holding in your hand. There is no waiting for something to happen, no point in the future to get to. All you have ever longed for is here in this moment, right now. You are wearing yourself out with all of this searching. Come home and rest. Remember who you are. Please take this into the sacred silence. grateful am I to speak the blessing for our service this morning, knowing that there is only one power, one presence. I call it divine, sweet spirit, universal one. And I know that this one shows up in many ways. It shows up as love and joy and connection. And what I know is true is that as we continue to remember who we are, this includes that we are one with the one. There is truly no place that God ends and each one of us begins. But each one of us are spiritual beings having this spiritual experience we call life. And in this place of knowing, I speak a word of blessing over our service this morning, knowing that each beloved member who is here present in the sanctuary, joining us online, or watching this recording at any time in the future is automatically lifted up in that presence of love. That love knows no time or space. It permeates all things. That as we continue to circulate our good in the sharing of gifts, in twice nice sales and community and communion and taking care of each other, that each item is an act of love made present right here, right now. And so I bless Reverend Angelica and her message, and I bless our music and Anna this day, knowing that each part of it is absolutely the presence of love in action. That we are the truth of that right here and right now. For this and so much more, I am so grateful. As I cast this forth into the law, I let it go and let it be, knowing that Sweet Spirit has already said, yes, my beloved, yes. And we affirm this together by saying together, and so it is.
There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. You are my reflection. There is only
Oh, thank you, Jackson, for that beautiful song. And it's now my pleasure to invite Reverend Angelica back up to the platform.
Thank you.
Got rid of everybody else's papers. That's why they move around, Scott. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, there's more people than I thought there were. Some of you snuck in when I wasn't looking. That's great. And good morning to the Zoomers as well. I want to say a special good morning to Edward and Amy. I happened to notice when I was looking at the computer, he's laying in his hospital bed watching us. So, yay. And we're, of course, sending him absolute healing energy. Yep, we just heard we love you, Edward, so that's good. And for anyone else that's going through any sort of physical, mental, emotional stuff, we know for you as well that you're being held in the highest. And good things are happening. You know, my talk title this morning is Embracing Self-Care. Now, I decided this month to use the notes from the Global Vision people. And it was interesting, the other day I'm thinking about embracing self-care. Well, I thought of something that's not mentionable at Sunday morning. But and then this book I read years and years ago, probably in the 90s, came running through my head called The Road to Wellness. Did anybody ever read that book?
Yeah.
It's a bizarre little book. But part of it is based in truth. And what it is it's set in the 50s. And apparently during the 50s, when the whole self-care thing started, and then has evolved, of course, to what it is today, where we have all the health food stores, etc. This man, Mr. Kellogg, you might recognize that name, created some sanitariums. And they were for people to go to be fed proper food, to have hot and cold baths and various other treatments that sounded more like masochism than healthy kind of things. But, you know, I did discover also that if you're interested at all, the movie's on Netflix right now. You have to search for it, I'm sure. But so these sanitariums were developed to help people create a healthier lifestyle for themselves, both physically and mentally. And when I was thinking about that, I thought, you know, we're all on our own road to Wellville. All of us are constantly working on ourselves in some way or another. And so this talk today is about, when I talk about embracing self-care, the self has a capital S. It's spirit, right? And so some of the ideas that they have for us this morning work for that. Embracing our self, our real self, that self that was mentioned in the contemplative, that fact that we are spiritual beings having an adventure called being humans, right? But the truth is that we're spirit. I mean, you know, we say that God is omnipresent, right? So that means God's absolutely everywhere. It doesn't stop when it gets to us, you know, and leave us out. It's absolutely everything and everywhere. So on our road to becoming the divine beings that we already are, we have to practice some things. We have to pay attention to what we think, what we feel, what we believe, and what our actions are. Dr. Holmes says, we all wish to be well in order that we may be happy, but we shall have to become happy. But we shall, let me do that again. We all wish to be well in order that we may be happy, but we shall have to become happy if we wish to be well. So here's 3 ideas for us. The first thing is to realize that there's no self-care without our mind. And our minds are very powerful. They're more powerful than you could possibly ever imagine. The way you perceive yourself and the way you behave stems from what we're thinking, right? So you can get therapy sessions from the greatest mind gurus that there possibly are, but if you don't treat your mind, then there's no way you could care and love for yourself. It's from the mind that self-depreciating thoughts come. So I looked at myself this morning, for instance, and this is my gift from Twice Nice. It actually came from Rebecca's mother.
Oh,
So isn't that pretty? We have a rule here, you know, you're supposed to wear what you pick up at Twice Nice. So, but in the meantime, I have this plain purple dress underneath, and
Naked if we didn't buy anything. I mean, the whole thing.
for those of you on Zoom, somebody just threw out a comment that says, are we supposed to come naked if we didn't buy anything?
Clothing optional.
Clothing optional, yeah, Next Sunday, right, okay. I'm glad you guys are all a little crazy like I am. So there's this, I'm looking in my full-length mirror before I put this on. And this is a knit dress that I have on. And, there's little rolls. And it's like, in fact, when we had the clothing in here yesterday for the Twice Nice sale, the mirror was sitting over there. It was a little high, and I'm talking to Donna, and all I could see is this fat woman in the mirror. No. I did figure it out, though. It was at a different angle. And that's why.
It's always about the angle.
Yeah, it's all about the angle, right? But the self-depreciating thought was, I'm fat. I don't look good. Now, when I think about that, I thought I had healed that because when I lived in Hawaii, and in fact in many European and Asian countries, the women are very slender and beautiful as young women, but then they have a couple children and they grow. They're still beautiful. That doesn't cease, because you add a few pounds, it doesn't cease the beauty. Your beauty comes from your soul, right? And so, I remember sitting in Rome watching these, they have all these wonderful squares where, the streets come in, and in the middle of this square is a beautiful fountain. And usually on one corner of the square is a church, and the other corner is a coffee shop or something like that, a bakery or something. And I watch all these women walking by because that's what they do after dinner is they go for a walk. I mean, that's what you do. I can remember up in Vancouver as well, meeting some women from Europe who walked all around the bay in high heels every night. I thought, you guys are nuts. But anyway, they're not thinking, well, maybe they are, who knows. But I could see beautiful Roman women, Italian women, walking by me. It didn't matter what size they were. In fact, I didn't really notice what size they were. What I noticed was a lot of them were walking on cobblestone streets in heels. I'm thinking, I'd break my neck. So we have other thoughts like I'm, not good enough, or I'll never succeed at what I'm doing, or maybe I should just give up. And those thoughts come from a mind that hasn't been tamed or trained yet. So that's what we're all about, is taming the mind, because, as we're growing up, we get all kinds of everybody else's thoughts layered on us over and over and over again, and we don't know as a little child that that is not appropriate or that that is not true. We accept them as truth. I've told you the story before of being a young woman on Christmas, a little girl on Christmas Eve, and we're all singing, my family is singing songs, and I think I had a cold or something. I had tonsillitis all the time as a kid. And my mother poked me with her very sharp elbow and said, "Stop it, you can't sing." And I heard "you can't sing," and I kept that as my truth until you had to take a music class in junior high school. And so here I am sitting up there on the bleachers, and the teacher's down playing scales, and everybody's coming down and singing to the scales so that he could put them where they belong. And I finally, I'm dreading it. Oh my God, I can't sing. What am I doing in this class? I can't play a musical instrument either, so that was my other choice. But here, finally he calls me down, and I'm just really, really nervous. And he says, "Take a deep breath. I can see that you're nervous. Just take a deep breath, and then I want you to sing what I'm playing." And I did. And he wrote to my foster mother and told her that I had one of the most natural, wide-range voices he had ever heard, and to make sure I took music lessons. So, thank you. But to go from "you can't sing" to hearing that in junior high school, it was like I couldn't believe it. I mean, after all, I had been told. But then I started allowing myself to sing, and it's fun, you know? It feels good. So, once you're in control of those thoughts that we have embodied or adopted as children, it frees us to live the best life we could possibly ever imagine. So that point is your mind is powerful. We have to pay attention to what is going through our mind all the time. Now, Rumi says, stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. Isn't that beautiful? Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. So my second point then is become aware of your spiritual perfection. We have to begin to realize that we're part of a macrocosm. We're a micro in a macrocosm. We're an individualization of the one. This one power, this one life, this one mind, this one heart, whatever you want to say. We're this divine energy that's flowing throughout the universe, being attentive to what we're thinking and feeling. Remember, we say that the universe or God or whatever you want to call this wonderful experience is, its only word is yes. And my teacher, Helen Street, added, yes, my darling. Because you are very loved. But if I'm saying, I'm too fat or I'm not worth it or any of the other things that we say against ourselves, the universe still says, yes, my darling. Because it gives us what we are predominantly thinking and feeling. And then that creates our actions. So we want to become more and more aware of our spiritual perfection. I have down here, you only need to look within to come in contact with who you truly are, to harness your potential and become the best you can be. This awareness helps to see ourselves in a greater light. Anytime you start thinking negative thoughts about yourself, in fact, your mind is so powerful, you can do this. You can set aside a part of the mind and say, hey, look, when I'm starting to do this, when I'm starting to go down this road, not thinking good thoughts about myself or the world or others, or thinking that what's out there can really have an effect on me, etc., when I start thinking that, do something gently, easily, and humorously to remind me of the truth of my being. And so you'll start to go down that road, and then something funny will happen. I can remember being at a conference, and I went up into this room because there was just so much information coming at me, and some things had triggered me, and I'm feeling, verklempt or whatever that word is, and I'm, tightened everywhere. And so I went walking through the hotel, and I find this room, a little smaller meeting room, and it's so dark in there, so I opened the curtain. And here I'm, how our mind does. And I open this curtain, and there's a a billboard out there. You know how big those are, right? It's like it's right in my face. It's from PG&E. It says, you are more powerful than you think. Thank you, God. The universe speaks to us in amazing ways, doesn't it? And so that can happen for you because you've set aside this part of your mind. And I add humorously because I want to experience more joy all the time. I think, as Teilhard de Chardin said, joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. So I want to feel that joy. So I say, okay, do this for me, mind. universe, remind me gently, easily, and humorously of the truth of my being. So, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world constantly trying to make you something else is a great accomplishment. To be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is a great accomplishment. There is Facebook has those reels. I don't know if you've ever got sucked down that rabbit hole, but there's one reel after another. There's a young man that I just love that I've posted a couple times on my Facebook page. He can't be more than 9, and he's so conscious. The things he says are beautiful. In fact, this morning it was about how you believe you're conscious, right? You believe you have a consciousness, but you don't think your pets do. And then he goes on to explain, he talks about ants and how they've set up a whole democracy and all this stuff. It was really amazing. Unfortunately, reels are only so long, and so it cut it off. And then I'm trying to find, where's the rest of it, So, to be yourself in a world constantly trying to make you something else is a great accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. This point is there's no self-care, self with a capital S, without action. So the science of mind philosophy is grounded in the power of our spiritual beingness and an understanding that we are having a human experience. So action has to be taken in order to experience a joyful, peaceful, and thriving life. To unlock the mind's full potential, we have to complete these 3 steps: paying attention to what we think, paying attention to what we feel, and paying attention to our actions. We can't think about this self-care, this taking care of the spirit that we really are, without these steps toward upholding the spirit that we are. So what does this mean to me? This means then more meditation. I love spiritual practices, and I do quite a few of them. But I think that meditation is one of the most important ones that there is. Because in meditation, if you allow yourself to, and you don't have to sit in some awkward pretzel position in order to do it. You can walk through nature. You can, I live where there's 4 stands of redwood trees around my house. And I can go sit by one of those trees and go into a meditative state so easily. Or I can put a blanket out on my lawn and lay down and go into meditation so easily. It doesn't have to be done sitting. It can be done standing. It can be done walking. It can be done dancing. There are so many ways to do meditation, but the thing is to find the one that works for you and do it. I've over and over and over again through all these years of being in this teaching, I have had a practice, and then something happens and a morning practice, right? And then something happens and I don't do it. It's like going to the gym. You're really into it. You're going to go to the gym every day or every other day or whatever. And then something comes up and you can't go one day. And the next day it's kind of like, well, maybe. And pretty soon a couple of months has gone by and you go, oh my God, I'm paying for the gym and I haven't been there in 2 months or something. And you start all over again. Well, meditation is sort of like that too. And I figured out one day that the reason why that happens for me is because it's time to up my game. It's time to figure out a different meditation for a while. That's why I'm so glad that there's such a menu that you can choose from. Some people like to do movement. That's what Tai Chi, Qigong, that's part of that whole movement, right? Is to In fact, I like spring forest qigong, and Master Chunyi Li has this wonderful thing. He says you have to, when you're starting your practice in the morning, you have to smile. And smile means start my internal love engine. Sort of puts you back in it, plus you bounce a whole long time to start. It's kind of neat, though. I know as he's describing the things that are happening to your body when you're doing the actions, it's really a wonderful thing. So, here's the thing. My 3 points were, your mind is more powerful than you think it is. And you can use it to establish a new routine at any time. You can use it to keep you out of thinking negatively about yourself or about others. It's powerful. The second one was become aware of your spiritual perfection. Regardless of what you think you look like or anything, there is that within you that is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely perfect already. And you can't really have any self, with the capital S, remember, care without action. You can think you could do it all in your mind, but the truth is you have to let there be some action as well in order to experience it, and that's why we as spiritual beings are here, to experience life. So, here's just a couple little things. If self-demeaning thoughts are visiting your mind, I like that idea that they're visiting, they're not there to stay. Practice mindful meditation. And do it in an environment that you love, because that'll make it even more important. Empowered. The second one, avoid stressful situations. And if you can't avoid them, take a breath and pause before reacting. That's something I have to think about all the time. And pausing helps us, that gives us the room for something to come in that helps us resolve any conflicts that might be happening. And the third one is engaging in healthy eating and fun activities that you love and sharing times with loved ones. And while you're doing this, recognize that absolutely everything is divine. How did it get to be that time already? Wow. I've been talking too long. Yes, Lori.
Showing up here is a great way for self-care.
Showing up here. Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
It is. And the good thing is like Scott said earlier, you get to do it in community. You don't have to do it by yourself. Whether you're doing yoga or taking a class or sitting here on Sunday or participating in the music, or the choir or whatever, you get to do it in community, and that's a good thing. So let's see our affirmation. I want to thank Jack Hall from Ukiah Center for our affirmations this month. The goodness of God is alive in all aspects of my being. I remember who I am. So let's go into prayer. How grateful I am for recognizing that all there is this one divine presence that is so amazing, so powerful, so present absolutely everywhere. And as I acknowledge this, I recognize that this is a part of who I am, this powerful presence. So I declare right now that I am ready and willing, and I'm speaking this in the first person to make it easier for all of you to embody it for yourselves. I'm ready and willing to allow myself self-care. I acknowledge this one presence with my mind. I allow myself to have moments where I feel this presence in my body, in my heart. And I let my actions be ones that are divine. I allow myself to have the universe support me in knowing that the truth of me is that higher self. And as I do that, I let it happen in many different ways. And one of the ways that I do it is I ask my mind to support me by pointing me in different directions when need be, and reminding me gently, easily, and humorously of where I want to be. And so I celebrate. I celebrate all the signs around me that are telling me, this too is God, this too is God, this too is God. That's all there is God. I celebrate my mind as it opens up to incorporate this idea even more than it has before. I celebrate my heart as it opens up to the love of the universe, because even Jesus told us God is love. So we're open to receiving it. We're ready. That's part of our self-care. And I know that our actions are joy-filled, compassionate, kind, purposeful. They're everything we need them to be. And we're grateful for this. And I know that as we do our own self-care, we're not doing it just for ourselves. We're doing it for everything and everyone. It's like it's catching. It's like a love virus. And so we celebrate this love. We celebrate the divine, knowing that it is always, always, always present. We can't get away from it because it is what we are. So I give thanks for knowing these things. I give thanks for having an experience this coming week that shows me how true this is. And I'm grateful, so grateful for absolutely everything. And I release these words into divine law, knowing that they are already so, and so it is. So Anna is doing our music this morning. Let's give her a hand.
What I read was that it was, God, this is a mess down here. I put mine in a little thingy, you know. Do you know who you are? And I know that I am mostly British Isles, but my great-great-grandmother on my paternal side was Ho Chunk, which you know is Winnebago. In the northern Illinois, all the counties and a lot of streets are named Winnebago. And I know that I walk on unceded Wiyot territory here. When I was 5, I looked at my hand and I was frightened of it. I thought it could grab me and choke me. And when I look back at the things I did with it, you know, it did harm me. So I wrote this song in, I don't know, 85, and I haven't, I never finished it till like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Called Voice. I know you've heard that voice inside, right? You go, wow. Who is that? Is that me? Is that my great-great-great-grandmother Olive? Is that my great-aunt? Who is that? I surrender, I give in, At this rate, I'll never win. Please connect me, plug me in. I promise not to run. Knows a word I used to say. I came to know myself that way. I never knew the price I'd pay for being such a fool. So come on, voice, I need to hear your words that transcend pain and fear. I'll calm myself if you draw near. I promise I'll give in. Hello, voice, where did you come from? It was nothing that I've done. You know so much, please tell me some. I'll listen perfectly. I don't know why I ran from the sight of my own hand. It seemed so important then. It doesn't matter now. I try to sing for everyone. Still a tune remains unsung. I feel like the only one drifting down here now. Hello, voice, where did you come from? It was nothing that I've done. You know so much, please tell me some. You know me perfectly. So come on, voice, from deep within, that voice that lets me in. The voice I knew so well when I was a child. I wrote it in 1985, but I finished it about 3 months ago. Put a melody to it.
Thank you, Anna. I want to share with you one thing. A young woman popped in last night as I was closing up the building, and she is asking that Bosco get a new home. Bosco is a 15-year-old, very healthy cat, and circumstances have changed, so if any of you can foster Bosco, by the end of June, she'll have to put him down because she can't keep him. He's a really beautiful guy. Check it out. He's yellow, he's orange and white. He's a really sweet guy. So I'm going to put this in the bulletin board. If that speaks to you, give a call to Mandy. It's all, info's all on here. Thank you, Scott.
Anna, that was beautiful. Yeah. I had to stand up to come up here, but I was standing up in tribute to your song because that was just wonderful. All right, speaking of wonderful, let's move forward and share our gifts because we are fortunate. We are going to, if you have anything that you can share, the plate will be passed in a moment. Whatever you can put in, a penny, a dollar, a dime, more than that. And as always, the plate is merely a vehicle by which it receives our form of love. So if you have nothing that you can give monetarily, hover over it for a second and just fill it with love for those people who will be receiving that also. So together we will all say, I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. And if you need to make a check or send it in, if you're a Zoomer, there's the address on screen. And now Karen, and if you will go ahead and pass the plate. James. Yeah, James. I was going Jack, John, George. On behalf of the center, I know that there is one energy that is in, around, through, and everywhere. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created. It flows, it goes, it comes, and it gives. And this currency, this money, these gifts are of that energy. And as we accept these gifts and know that they are being released into the community to further improve the area in which we live and all that we touch, there is no other word that can be applied except for we are grateful. We thank everybody who has donated these gifts and who has poured their love into these plates, and we accept these on behalf of the greatest good that is happening at all times. And release these words into the law of mind, knowing they are already happening. And together we say, and so it is. Put those on the plate. All right, we will first have our community statement of inclusion, and then we will close with a new song, and we'll have somebody come up here and lead the song. That is not my strength, but I would like to have somebody come forward and read our community statement of inclusion. If you haven't done it before, it's just a really nice feeling. If you have done it before, it's still a nice feeling. But who do we have who would like to come up here and read this? Thank you, Brian. And I have sorted all the papers down here for you.
Thank you for making that task easy. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. We know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well. Thank you.
And we do. All right, our song, we have a new song. I'm familiar with the song, but I'm not going to lead it. Thank you, Donna. One more gift is Donna.
You may stand if you wish. It's more fun to sing when your diaphragm's not bent. That's that part. How marvelous, how wonderful the universal love has manifested here in you and me. I look at you and see in you the God potential there. This is the real you in reality. So let the infinite love shine through. This is you, really you. Believe God's love is the heart of you. Wait no longer to know that it's true. How marvelous, how wonderful, universal love as manifest